Hey y'all, welcome back to the Free Black Women's Library YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Thank you for liking this video, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. Welcome back to the Free Black Women's Library, y'all. I am so excited. Harlem is back, and we're Black. Harlem is back. Yay! That's the sound of confetti popping. I am so excited. Can you tell? I really love this show. This is actually one of my favorite new TV shows currently streaming on Amazon Prime. It's called Harlem, and season 1 dropped in 2021. So it's been 2 years since we've seen our girl, Camille, Ty, Quinn, and Angie. And they're back, and they seem to be doing better than ever. And I'm looking forward to talking about it. So, as I said, season 1 dropped in 2021 and it's 10 episodes long. I highly recommend it if you haven't already. And if you don't watch the show, but you plan on watching my reflections, please know that they're going to be filled with spoilers. So if you're the type of person who doesn't like to hear every aspect of the story in your video essays, then you have been forewarned, because I'm going to be getting into it. I'm going to be getting into these characters and these stories and these friendships. But before I do that, I do want to say that Harlem is the brainchild of a woman named Tracy Oliver. Now, Tracy Oliver is the same person that brought us the box office comedy hit called Girls Trip. Not sure if y'all seen Girls Trip. It's starring Queen Latifah, Jada Pinkett, Tiffany Haddish, and Regina Hall, and it is hilarious. It is about these 4 women who go on a trip to New Orleans. So in addition to it being a 4-woman comedy, it's also a road trip comedy, which means there's hijinks, there's romance, there's miscommunications, lots and lots of laughs. From what I understand, they are now filming Girls Trip 2, and it takes place in Ghana, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that and seeing how those same characters interact with folks on the continent. I'm sure it's going to make for lots of good laughs, and I'm also hoping to see a little bit of a diasporic romance, maybe between Queen Latifah's character. I think she was the only single one in, actually, no, Tiffany Haddish was too. So, but we shall see. Looking forward to seeing Girls Trip 2. Really enjoyed Girls Trip 1. Brought to you by Tracy Oliver, the same creator of Harlem, who's also one of the head writers, producer, et cetera, et cetera. Very, very cool. Now, similar to Girls Trip, Harlem is also about a quartet of four. That's repetitive. Harlem is also about a quartet of 4. Why do I keep doing that? Harlem is also about a quartet of friends. 4 women living in Harlem, all in their 30s, attempting to live their best lives in uptown, baby. Uptown, baby. Uptown. Now, I'm going to talk about episodes 1 and 2 of season 2. But before I do that, I do want to talk about these specific characters just a little bit. Now, when it comes to the quartet, when it comes to the idea of 4 women being friends, when it comes to the idea of 4 people being friends, this is something that we have seen throughout TV shows, throughout films, within books. It's a dynamic that is often explored. It is fertile ground for really good stories. It's fertile ground for character development. It's fertile ground for confrontation, conflict. It's fertile ground for exploring friendship. Friendship is one of my favorite topics to explore. So I'm already hooked. I love shows like this. I love that dynamic of 4 friends, Golden Girls being my top favorite, Living Single being a close second. Don't cancel me, y'all. Don't cancel me. I know I should say Living Single is my favorite, but it's hard for me to say that when Dorothy just goes so hard with the snaps and the shade. She just does. The way Dorothy used to snap at Rose and Blanche, like there's not one episode of Golden Girls that I've watched where I have not laughed out loud. So that's my top. And then Living Single is a close second for its cultural influence, importance. Queen Latifah, Erica Alexander, Kim Fields, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah. Then there's also like Sex and the City. There was also a show called Noah's Ark that was on Logo TV, which starred 4 Black gay men. There's the show Girlfriends, even though the friendships in that felt very toxic, but it still gave us a similar format. So yeah, this is something that we've seen time and time again, and there's nothing wrong with us seeing it again in this instance, because in this instance, we're getting it in a way that we've never gotten it before. We've never seen that 4 woman friendship dynamic in this way. So even though it is not a new idea, even though it's not a new idea, it's been remixed, it's been rejudged, it's been changed, it's giving us fresh, exciting, new, vibrant. The show is very well acted, it's very well written, it's impeccably styled, from the fashion to the hair to the makeup to the apartments to everything. And it's giving us fun, fly Black womanhood, which you can never have too much of that these days. Okay. So let's talk about Harlem. Harlem is dope. Harlem stars Camille Parks, played by the lovely Megan Good. Dr. Camille Parks is an anthropology professor at Columbia University. She is an adjunct professor, so that means that she doesn't have tenure. So it's one of those things where it's like contract to contract, it's like case by case basis. So her job is not assured. And from what it looks like, she's only teaching one class, a class called Anthropology of Love and Sex. And her class is very popular among the students. There's always a wait list for it, full house each and every time. The lecture hall is huge and it's packed. I would definitely be in the front row of Dr. Park's class if I was a Columbia student, because I'm interested in everything that she is sharing within her classroom. I love her visuals. I love how she communicates with her students. I love the assignments that she gives her students. So it seems as if she is a really good teacher. It seems that she has a strong passion for the subject and the things she's talking about. She wants tenure. She wants to be an academic. She wants to be a scholar. But she just needs to work a little harder, according to Dr. Pruitt, who's her boss, right? And she also has a really strong social media presence. She has 142,000 followers on Twitter, which is a lot. And she tweets a lot about things like gentrification, state violence, activism. So she has a strong social media presence, but she's not necessarily in the field doing any real work. One key moment in season 1, when Dr. Pruitt is talking to her, is she says to her, to study culture is to be in it, not be on the outside observing, looking in. And that reminds me of Zora Neale Hurston. Now, Zora Neale Hurston was an anthropologist, a writer, an amazing individual who traveled the world studying Black culture, Black history, Black spirituality, everything Black. And she did immerse herself in that culture. Definitely check out Claiming a Space, which is on pbs.org. It's a documentary about Zora. Definitely check that out if you haven't already. What do y'all think about my new lighting situation? I got myself a ring light. What do y'all think? Is it working for me? Either way, so Camille Parks is doing okay when it comes to her career. Her love life, on the other hand, it's a little bit messy. It's a little bit not really sure what's going on there. And she is trying to make something work with Ian, who was her ex. And I'll get into that a little bit later when I talk about the men and talk about the episodes. But On a personal level, Camille seems a little bit awkward, a little bit messy, a little bit selfish, somewhat unsure of herself, somewhat insecure, doesn't really have a clear understanding of like boundaries, doesn't really, seems to be a little bit of a hypocrite, seems to be a little, having a bit of an ego, and just doesn't have her shit together from a personal standpoint, but she's trying. She's trying. She's just kind of bumbling and fumbling her way through it. So that's Camille, Dr. Camille Parks. And then we have Ty. Now, Ty, excited to say, is a lesbian. So Ty is giving us that queer representation. Ty is played by the lovely actress, Jerry Johnson. She's absolutely beautiful. She is what many might refer to as a soft stud or masculine of center. She's a bit boyish. Ty is a rich tech mogul who has created an app called Q, which is a dating app for people of color. Ty is a bit of a player, doesn't really want to show vulnerability or softness or care, seems to be afraid of connecting with people on a deeper, more emotional level, seems to go through women like really in a really bad, unethical way, and has a husband who kind of came out of nowhere. So I guess she was married to a man at one, not I guess, she was married to a man at one point, a man named Brandon, who unfortunately is back in her life because in season one, she was so determined to ignore this pain that was going on in her body. Like she was supposed to do this presentation at Afrotech, this big conference. She was the keynote speaker. She was in all this pain. She was in all this pain. She kept ignoring it, pushing it down, pushing it down. She went to the hospital and got checked out, and the doctor was tried to say she should get a hysterectomy, which was a really deep, hard, like moment that does happen in real life. But she ends up collapsing in the airport in season one, taken to the hospital, and her emergency contact listed on her forms is her husband, Brandon. And this is when we find out that Ty has a husband. This is when the girls also find out that Ty has a husband, because apparently they didn't know either. So Ty is very closed off. Ty is very guarded. And Ty is now trying to figure out how to deal with this whole husband situation, especially now that she's got all this money. And the fact of the matter is that her husband might be, and she wants a divorce, but her husband might be entitled to some of the money that she's made off of this app. So that's upsetting. But what's not upsetting is that we get to see a Black lesbian as a key character in a Black show. And she's not a stereotype. She's not a trope. She's actually really a really well-developed character. She's got these dope track suits that she's rocking this season that I love. Her hair is bleached, and I love that. Like Ty is beautiful. Ty is everything. So very, very happy to have that queer representation. And we actually have double queer representation in this show, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But before I get to that, I want to talk about Angie. Now, Angie is played by an actress named Shaniqua Shandai. Hope I said that right. And Angie is an actress and a singer and somebody who really wants to be famous. Angie is very talented, very ambitious, and considers herself to be somebody who should be a rock star. Angie did have a record deal. She ended up losing her record deal. Things went wrong with the company that she was signed to. So her star didn't even get to rise before it fell. And on top of that, she got a key part in Get Out, the musical, in season one. But unfortunately, because she wrote a letter to Jordan Peele decided to put the kibosh on that. And The play never happened, even though they had weeks of rehearsal and Angie was so excited. Initially, she didn't want the part. Then she went and she got the part. Then she got a bigger part and she got like a featured character part. And then the show was canceled. So Angie thinks she's just having like a string of bad luck and she doesn't know what to do. Now, there was some critique about the Angie character in season 1 because not only is Angie an actress and a singer, but she's also very sexual. Sexual. Angela loves men. She loves having sex with men. She is really into her pleasure and into her body and into engaging with her body in sexual ways. So the critique about Angie was that why is it that the dark-skinned character is the one that's like hypersexual or whatever? Now, in a way, I can understand the critique because I do believe that we should look at everything critically. But on the other hand, since that's not all that Angie's character is, I'm not bothered by her being so sexual. We had Blanche from Golden Girls. We had Samantha from Sex and the City. Angie is from that same tribe. Angie loves to be in her pleasure. She loves men. And that's not all she's about. That's not all we see of Angie. We see that she's a good friend. We see that she is very loving. We see that she's very funny. We see that she's very supportive. We see that she has strong politics. She's outspoken. She's brash. She says what's on her mind, right? Angie is a fun character. And I have no problem with her being so sexual because there are actually women like this. There are women who are very sexual that I'm friends with some of them. They're awesome people. Like there's nothing wrong with this character to me because that's not the only thing we know about her. She's fully fleshed out. Next, we have Quinn. Quinn is probably my favorite character because I think out of all of them, I relate to her the most, just on from a love level, from a personality level. One of the reasons I think that I love the 4-woman dynamic so much within TV shows, books, and films is because out of all of the characters, there's often one that each of us can relate to or identify with. Not that we need to relate to a character to enjoy a show, because I enjoyed I May Destroy You, but I didn't relate to Michaela Cole's character necessarily. But it's fun to watch a show and see a character have an experience or say something that really you would say or an experience that you've had. That's fun. It's fun, it's affirming, it offers you a type of social proof that yes, my life is actually authentic and there are stories being made about people like me. So the 4-woman dynamic it gives us friendship. I love talking about friendship. And it also gives us relatability at certain points. That I say all that to say that I love Quinn, and out of all these characters, I relate to her the most. Now, Quinn is the daughter of rich Caribbean parents, which I am not. Quinn is a fashion designer who has a boutique and a really cute apartment in Harlem, really cute big apartment, which Angie is actually staying with Quinn because Angie's broke. Angie's got no money. But either way, Quinn loves love. Quinn is a hopeless romantic. Quinn is very soft, very caring, very sweet, very funny, very encouraging of her friends. Quinn is like the light of the group. Like she's the lightest one. I just noticed that. But either way, let me not talk about complexions because that's not the point. Quinn is the one who you call when you're feeling sad to cheer you up, to give you a pep talk. And Quinn wants romance. She wants to be desired. She wants to be loved. She wants to be pleased. She wants to connect with another person on a soul level. She wants to be married. Quinn is looking for the love of her life. Quinn is looking for her soulmate. Quinn wants to be in love. Like at one point, they say that Quinn is an Aries. I would have thought that Quinn was a Libra, the way she is so, or a Cancer, the way she is so committed to love and finding love and wanting to be in love. It's not giving Aries, but what do I know? I'm just astrology wannabe, astrologer wannabe, right? Yeah, like I would say that Ty is either a Taurus or a Virgo or a Sag. I would say that Camille is an Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius, I'm ashamed to say. And I would say that Angie is maybe a Leo. Maybe a Leo. What do y'all think? Either way, I absolutely adore Quinn. She's so fun. She's so cute. And she does remind me of me because she really means well. And she just falls in love too easily. She gives her heart away too quickly. She wants to commit within 5 seconds of meeting a person. She just wants to see the good in everybody. She tries her best. So those are our 4 characters, and they're wonderful. They're consistent and they're wonderful. And I love how the way that they're styled as far as their hair and their clothing also matches their personality. Like that's, of course, that's normal, but sometimes shows don't really get that right. I love that. Like Angie's always dressed like a rock star. Quinn is always like super stylish and something really chic and expensive. Ty is often in something sharp and corporate and bossy, boss bitchy, like, oh, not boss bitchy, but just like badass bossy, right? It's giving power suit, right? I should mention that Ty was in Forbes last season. So Ty is a big deal. And Camille is the stylish professor. She's on a budget, but she still works it out. She still does her thing. She rocks her Zara and, her very well styled things and whatnot. So we're in season 2. So they're dropping 2 episodes at a time, which if they do that for the entire season, that means the show will be up for 5 weeks because I think the season is 10 episodes long. Last season was 10 episodes long. So I'm hoping that this season will also give us 10 episodes or maybe even 12. We shall see, but I'll take what I can get. So in these first 2 episodes, we get episode 1, we get a little bit of a recap, and then we get a continuation of these characters' stories. Now, I'm not going to break down scene by scene as I've done in the past in my other rambling reflections. I'm just going to continue talking about the characters as far as their stories, and hopefully it all makes sense. So when we get back, we see that Camille is regretting her decision to quit her job with Dr. Pruitt, played impeccably by Whoopi Goldberg. Dr. Pruitt is the head of anthropology department. She's no nonsense, tough love, Black woman who's trying to get Camille together, get Camille to be better. Camille and her come to an understanding where Camille says, okay, fine. Like I did decide to quit and I need to stand by my decision. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work through the rest of my contract through this semester and this summer as I have signed to do. And then after that, I'm out. And Dr. Pruitt says, fine. So they come to that agreement. So that works out. And then Camille has to apologize to Ian's family because she basically ruined the wedding by kissing Ian, or Ian kissing her, them kissing each other, and Mira catching them. It turns out Mira saw them the first time they kissed back in that awful Titanic party. So Mira already knew something was up. And so did Ian, actually. Ian is being played by Tyler Lepley, who is also on P-Valley, playing a total different character, but kind of a similar character. He's fine AF too. Everybody on the show is fine AF. So anyway, so I have to say that I'm not really that invested in Camille and Ian storyline because they're both kind of messy to me. And I don't know if they should have gotten back together. But by the end of episode 2 of season 2, they're back together. And they've decided to move forward and be a couple. Leave everything that happened in the past and move forward. I don't know if that's going to work out. I don't think it's going to work out. And I actually don't really care because I don't like them together. Like the way they broke up and the way they got back together, it just yells mess. Like it just seems really messy, really complicated. But maybe it'll work out. Now that Mira's out the picture and the wedding is off, maybe it'll work out. We shall see. So Camille breaks up with Jameson. I don't think that's the last we've seen of Jameson. He finds out that she's back with Ian and that the marriage never happened. So he feels like he was a placemaker in between her getting back with Ian. And he kind of has a point. But either way, things work out for Camille by the end of episode 2. She's got her job back. She's got her man. Jason is out of her life. Dr. Pruitt is fine with her working. So things are fine with Camille. As far as with Ty, what's going on with Ty? So Ty, it turns out, is a little bit bothered by the fact that Brandon called her out on the fact that she doesn't seem to have any real soulful spiritual connections in her life. All she does is work and she's just got money. And he's like, you don't have any love in your life. You don't have anything. The fact that somebody called me when you needed an emergency contact and you and I don't even speak is proof positive that you're not fully living. So there's something about the way Brandon says this that really sticks in Ty's mind. And when she goes to the girls to talk to them about it, they seem to agree with Ty. They seem to agree with Brandon. So she is bothered and she decides that she wants to be seen as a caring person and she wants to start working on that. So at first she thinks about getting a dog. And that was a really cute scene when she had the little dog in her lap with his little wrinkly face and everything. And I actually wanted her to get that dog because I love dogs and I thought that would have been a cute addition to the show. But she decides no, she's not going to get it. Instead, she goes to a plant shop and we see Rachel True. Rachel True, who was in the iconic film The Craft and also a TV show called Half and Half, which is currently streaming on Netflix, is playing this lady who runs a plant shop. She buys a cactus, takes it home, and within seconds, as she goes to open a window to give the cactus some air, it drops into the sink. Her hip hits the garbage disposal button, and the cactus falls in and gets all shredded. So Megan the Cactus, as she named it, is pretty much destroyed. So Ty is like, damn, like here I am trying to prove, excuse me, y'all. Here I am trying to prove that I can take care of something and it ends up destroyed within 5 minutes of it being in my home. So Ty's not feeling too good about that. Ty's not feeling too good about herself in that regard. And she is working through that, but at the same time, she discovers that she is on this website called shebetoxic.com and referred to as Trashy Ty. And there's all these, there used to be a website in real life called don'tdateemgirl.com. And it's kind of similar to this website, shebetoxic.com. I don't know if these type of sites still exist. I'm sure they do. But on this site are reviews from a bunch of women who've dated her. And they're talking about how much of a trash girlfriend she was, how much of a trash date she was. There's at one point where she ends up having sex with the waitress while she's on a date. So as I said, Ty's a bit of a player. She's a bit of a F boy, BOY. And Ty is trying to get these reviews taken down, but she's not able to get them taken down. So instead of being upset, she decides to lean into her toxicity even more. And she finds out that there's a girl named Zoe who's on this site who's got the same level of horrible reviews as her. And she decides, why don't I date Zoe? She's basically another version of me. So while I'm out here looking for Miss Right, for this like loving, soulful connection, in the meantime, I'll date Miss Wrong, which is Zoe. So she purposely goes to the place where she knows Zoe's going to be, seeks her out. They talk. She makes that proposition. Why don't you and I become lovers? And Zoe's down for it. And Zoe is beautiful. This actress is stunning. Like, everybody on this show is beautiful, so I'm just going to keep saying that. But either way, her and Zoe link up. They have a good time with each other. And as Zoe is leaving, Brandon shows back up. Like, the demon. He's the villain in this story, as far as I know. Until I'm told something different about Brandon, Brandon is the villain. Like, what are you doing here? What do you want? Sign the divorce papers. She's been trying to get him to sign these divorce papers for months, and he refuses to sign. And now he's trying to act like he wants some of her business. And unfortunately, he may be entitled to some of it because they're married. And she created this business while they were married. So technically, he might be owed some ownership or some type of huge cash payout as a result of just being her husband, which is so unfair, especially because they didn't even live together. They don't even know each other. They're not even dealing with each other. Oh my God, poor Ty. So that's Ty's story. So that's where we leave Ty. We leave Ty with Zoe being on her way out while Brandon is on his way in. He's going to end up holding that against her. We shall see. And then we have Quinn. No, let me save Quinn for last. Then we have Angie. So what happens with Angie is while they're walking, this man in a silver hat decides to predict Angie's future. And he tells her, you're going to have sex with the most beautiful man in New York. And then after that, you're going to have the best of luck. So they end up going to get mani-pedis to spend the afternoon together after they've had lunch. I love that. I love that. Like, can I be in a girl group? Can we all go get brunch and then get mani-pedis afterwards? I've never experienced this. So I'm living vicariously through these characters at the same time as I'm enjoying this show. But so they go get mani-pedis and they're talking. Quinn has a date with Isabella later, so she's talking about that. But this fine ass manicurist ends up coming in with these locks and everything. And when Angie sees him, she automatically assumes that this is the man that the fortune teller was talking about. So she leaves with him. She goes back to his place. She has sex with him a couple of times. And then as she's walking out of his room and out of his apartment, she bumps into his roommate, who is also extremely, extremely fine. And she pretends like she has a twin. And then she comes back later as the twin and ends up having sex with the roommate. After admitting that she's not a twin, she ends up having sex with the roommate. So sexual exploits be damn. Angie's trying to get some good luck in. That's that sex magic. She's trying to make it happen. You know, she wants to change her life. So the only thing that happens as far as her good luck is that she just gets a bunch of free lottery tickets. And while she's turning in the tickets, she ends up meeting a whole new dude who's also very good looking. And he takes her back to his place and he's got a huge, gorgeous apartment. It's absolutely stunning and huge. Did I say it was huge? And Angie's already feeling like Quinn might be pushing her out. She's overstayed her welcome. So she's scheming on this man's place. His name is Marcus. Her and Marcus, they have sex for the first time, and it turns out that his penis is very, 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 very small. And that's not the problem. There's nothing wrong with him having a small penis. The problem is that he thinks it's big and he thinks he's doing something when he's really not. He calls it an anaconda. 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 Shout out to the actress that played Marcus. Actor, sorry, that played Marcus, because even though he had a small part, he really worked his character. When he's having sex with Angie, I think it's when he comes that he says Harlem skills. Harlem skills. Okay, dude. So him and Angie end up falling out because he accuses her of, he tells her that she needs to get a vaginal rejuvenation, which is basically him saying that she's like too big down there. And she says the problem is that you're too small. So they have a falling out, and she leaves. Angie leaves and goes back to Quinn's place. So that's how Angie's story ends. Still trying to make her luck happen. Not really working out. Now, lastly, but not leastly, is Quinn. And what I'm doing here is I'm just giving a Rambly reflection of episodes 1 and 2 as far as like where each character stands. And for Quinn, I felt so bad for her, but Quinn ends up going on a date with Isabella in episode 1. They go on their first date. And before they go on the date, Quinn is like really nervous. This is her first time dating a woman, and she really likes Isabella. She's so excited. She wants to please her. And Ty gives her gives her advice, and Ty takes her to the sex shop, and she ends up buying over $4,000 worth of sex toys. And Ty is like, being gay is expensive, which I thought was such a funny line. And so Quinn buys like all these funny toys, and she's so nervous, and it works out in the end. Like, her and Isabella end up having a really nice time, and Isabella apparently makes her come like 8 times, which is amazing. And Quinn is like wide open. Like, Quinn is just ready to say I love you in a minute, in a New York minute. Okay, Quinn is not dickmatized, but she's sprung. She is sprung on Isabella. And she's like taking food to her at her job, which I have done. I'm ashamed to say I have done that, y'all. I have made a whole ass meal, packaged it, and taken it to somebody's work as just a token of my affection. Never again. Ugh, never again. Listen, don't be doing sweet stuff for these folks out here, because they will not appreciate it. Either way, Quinn is so caught up that Angie thinks that she might be getting put out. Unfortunately, by the end of episode 2, Isabella and Quinn end up going their separate ways. And we see Quinn in this beautiful, sparkly outfit, crying her little eyes out on the sidewalk, because she refers to her and Isabella as a couple. And Isabella's like, we're not a couple, babe. This is like a casual thing. I'm running for office. I have a lot going on. I have meetings, I have presentations, I have a campaign that I'm doing right now. So this is just like a fun little thing. And Quinn was not looking at it like that, because Quinn probably does not believe in casually dating. She's just like, either you're with me or you're not, right? Sadly, they end up breaking up. And Quinn is so cute when she's like, I came out as bi only to have to deal with double the rejection. I feel you, girl. Ooh, Quinny, I feel you, baby. So that's where episode 2 ends. Episode 2 ends with Camille being in a really good place, work-wise. Ty being in an awkward situation with Brandon and the homegirl Zoe. Angie being back to square one, still trying to figure out what her next move is going to be, and Quinny feeling sad and lonely. We got to see a little bit of the way these characters work and interact with each other in season 1, and we're getting to see that same beautiful, loving, endearing, wholesome interaction in season 2. They are not the type of friends that like make fun of each other or say cutting remarks. As much as I love Dorothy from Golden Girls, like she was like mean to Blanche and Rose, right? That's not what's happening here. Similar to in Girlfriends, where Joan and Maya and them, they had like that, there was like this weird competitive thing that took place between those characters. That's not happening here. Like these girls genuinely do love each other, or I should say women genuinely do love each other and do care for each other and do support each other. And they're all truly best friends. They forgive each other easily. They talk things out. They're honest with each other. They're honest with each other. They don't lie to each other. They don't enable each other. I love that. When Ty was looking for some affirmation about her being like the type of person who's like caring and loving, they didn't give it to her. They were just like, so I like that dynamic. I like the fact that they really do seem to like each other. They're not thrown together because of like, because they work together or because they're family. They're actually four separate people who have their own worlds and they come together as friends. So what do y'all think is in store for our girls? Are y'all excited that Harlem is back? I'm going to try my best to be consistent and upload a video for every 2 episodes. And I look forward to talking to y'all about it more. Please leave a comment and let me know who's your favorite character? Which character do you relate to the most? And what do you think about this gorgeous, stylish, lovely, brilliant representation of Black womanhood and how we are not a monolith? Isn't it lovely? We love to see it. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.